By the final years of King Henry VIII's life, the once vigorous, athletic monarch had become a shadow of himself. The years of political turmoil, failed marriages, and brutal executions had taken their toll. He was enormously overweight, plagued by a festering leg wound that refused to heal, and haunted by the ghosts of the 6 wives who had come and gone, 2 divorced, 2 executed, 1 dead in childbirth, and 1 who would outlive him. Though he had finally gotten his long-desired male heir, Prince Edward, from his 3rd wife Jane Seymour, Henry's satisfaction was short-lived. Jane died just days after giving birth, and Henry never truly recovered from the loss. Beneath his iron will, there were whispers of guilt over Anne Boleyn's execution, over the broken family he had created, and over his relentless obsession with control and succession. In his last years, Henry VIII's court was a nest of intrigue. His children, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward, each represented a different religious and political faction. Mary was Catholic, Elizabeth Protestant, and Edward was being raised under strict Protestant tutors. Henry himself oscillated between policies, sometimes burning Catholics, sometimes Protestants. Yet despite his paranoia and cruelty, he took one crucial step before his death. He restored both Mary and Elizabeth to the line of succession. They were still legally bastards, but by Act of Parliament they were reinstated as heirs after Edward. When Henry died in 1547, likely from complications of obesity and infection, his 9-year-old son Edward VI became king. Henry left behind a kingdom fragile in faith, divided in loyalty, and riddled with corruption, but his will was clear: Edward first, then Mary, then Elizabeth. The young King Edward, frail but intelligent, was heavily influenced by his Protestant advisors, particularly his uncle, Edward Seymour, Duke of Somerset, and later John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland. During his short 6-year reign, England swung sharply toward Protestantism. Monasteries were dissolved, Latin was replaced by English in church services, and traditional Catholic practices were outlawed. But Edward's health rapidly declined. By 1553, the boy king was dying of tuberculosis. Desperate to prevent the throne from passing to his Catholic half-sister Mary, his advisors pressured him to name Lady Jane Grey, his Protestant cousin, as his successor. When Edward died, Lady Jane was proclaimed queen, but only for 9 days. The country rallied behind the rightful heir, Mary Tudor, and Jane was captured and executed. Mary ascended the throne, determined to restore Catholicism and avenge her mother, Catherine of Aragon. To her, Elizabeth was not just a rival, but a living reminder of her mother's humiliation and her father's betrayal. Elizabeth's Protestant faith and sharp intelligence made her both dangerous and indispensable. Mary soon married Philip II of Spain, a union deeply unpopular among the English people. Her reign was marked by harsh persecution of Protestants, earning her the grim nickname Bloody Mary. Hundreds were burned at the stake, and the country trembled under her rule. Meanwhile, Elizabeth walked a perilous tightrope. Every word she spoke, every letter she wrote, could be used against her. When a rebellion broke out in 1554, led by Sir Thomas Wyatt, accusing Elizabeth of conspiracy, Mary ordered her half-sister imprisoned in the Tower of London. For 2 terrifying months, Elizabeth lived under the shadow of the axe, just as her mother, Anne Boleyn, had. The same tower walls that once echoed with her mother's final prayers now confined the daughter. But unlike Anne, Elizabeth survived. Lacking evidence to condemn her, Mary reluctantly released her, though Elizabeth remained under close watch for years. As Mary's health deteriorated, her marriage to Philip failed to produce an heir. When she died in November 1558, childless and heartbroken, the crown passed, at last, to Elizabeth, the last surviving child of Henry VIII. Elizabeth was 25 years old when she became queen. Her coronation at Westminster Abbey in January 1559 was more than a royal ceremony. It was a symbol of renewal. The people cheered her name in the streets. After decades of bloodshed, executions, and religious turmoil, England found hope in this young, cautious, intelligent woman. The daughter of a mother who had been beheaded for treason, once declared illegitimate and unworthy, now sat upon the throne her father had so desperately fought to secure for a son. Henry VIII, who had killed for a male heir, could never have imagined that his greatest legacy would come from his daughter. From that moment forward, Elizabeth ruled with a sharp mind and steady hand. She never married, famously calling herself married to England. Her reign, lasting 45 years, became one of the most celebrated in English history, the Elizabethan Age, an era of exploration, art, and national pride.